All right, we have breaking news now. World Health Organization has just declared coronavirus a pandemic at this point.
Hello, I'm Cecil Staten, President and CEO of AAHOA. Thank you for joining us today. And I want to offer a special word of thanks to our friends at Chase and the Red Lion Hotel Corporation for their sponsorship of today's program. I wish we were able to meet in person for this regional event. However, the COVID-19 pandemic continues to keep our nation and our country in a holding pattern as we wait for a vaccine. When I joined AAHOA last year, I looked forward to traveling across our country to meet you, the people who drive America's hospitality industry. As a small business owner myself, I feel an immense kinship with you because of your entrepreneurial drive and vision. It's your commitment to build, to inspire, and to succeed that really drew me to this association. If ever there were a time that the unwavering optimism of entrepreneurs such as you is most valuable, it's now when times are tough. Even though you worked hard and built successful businesses, COVID-19 continues to disrupt our industry in ways that few of us could have imagined even just a few months ago, pushing many hotels to the brink. I'm the son of small business owners, and in addition to being an educator, I built a few successful businesses myself. From reviving a failing radio station and building that into owning 15 radio stations, to launching 2 publishing companies that brought New York Times best-selling books to print. I always believed my hard work and commitment to a job done right would lead to progress and a better life for my family. Despite my hard work and success, like entrepreneurs in every industry, I had to overcome disruption. Digital music and streaming services disrupted radio and changed how people consume news, music, and information. Amazon and ebooks turned the book publishing model upside down. But as entrepreneurs, when disruptions threaten the businesses we build, the jobs we create, we adapt. It's how we survive. The hospitality industry faces disruptions such as new technologies, brand models, and regulations, but we've never faced one as impactful as this pandemic. That's why AAHOA is doing everything we can do to help you adapt and overcome the disruptions and challenges this pandemic is inflicting upon your businesses. We saw our industry go from years of consecutive growth to a standstill, seemingly overnight. This virus is changing the way we live and do business and forcing us to innovate. Some speculate that this pandemic is accelerating the inevitable demise of practices and even industries that will be rendered obsolete by new technologies and the passage of time. Everything seems to be changing. How we approach labor, guest services, sanitation protocols, automation, and other areas are all being impacted. We will continue to see significant shifts in the coming months and years. At AAHOA, our response to this pandemic is member-centric. We listen to your needs. We look at how we can meet them in the short term. And we plan for supporting you and our industry in the long run. For hoteliers and the hospitality industry, the road to recovery starts with AAHOA. This association is a reflection of you, our members, your dreams, and your journeys. In my role as president and CEO, I'm committed to learning as much as I can from you and meeting as many AAHOA members as I possibly can, together with our industry partners and association partners. AAHOA has great momentum, and we are riding high on a year of wonderful achievements. Like you, our dynamism and our ambition has allowed us to adapt and pivot our resources during this crisis to look forward and give you the resources you need to get through this pandemic. I'm excited to explore the multitude of ways AAHOA can help and will help hoteliers adapt to disruption. From advocacy and education to our exclusive virtual events such as this, we are continually reimagining how we can deliver for you. I want you to be clear. My goal is for AAHOA to become the most respected entity in the hospitality world, respected for its leadership and its service to its members. As we progress through the fourth decade, AAHOA will become nothing less than the foremost resource and advocate for America's hotel owners. As an association, we are prepared for where the road ahead may lead us, no matter what disruptions may occur along the way. In 2021, we're going to still be dealing with many of this year's challenges. That's why our goal is that every day you run your business, you can have confidence that AAHOA is by your side, providing the resources that you need to succeed. AAHOA is in a strong financial position because of our careful spending and the ever-increasing value we deliver to our investors. Like you, our members, our association is striving to make the most efficient use of all of our resources in an effort to continually fulfill our mission. We will continue to make wise choices for our association and for you, our members, and know that we will all survive this crisis together. AAHOA's leadership continues to advocate for you with lawmakers, with brands, and OTAs. Our industry-leading education is focused on issues that matter to you most. It helps you stay on top of the best ways to respond to this pandemic and protect your employees, your guests, and your business. Together, we will survive COVID and other disrupting forces to be even stronger in the years ahead. You are the heart and soul of our industry. As challenging as this crisis is, you endure, and you do so with resiliency and with grace. I'm proud to be part of this association, and I am humbled to work with such accomplished entrepreneurs as you. I'm also fortunate to work with a great team in Atlanta and in Washington, D.C., who've been working their hearts out for you, our members, over the months of this pandemic. And I'm also proud to work with our next speakers. Please join me in welcoming your 2020-2021 AAHOA officers, Chairman Biren Patel, Vice Chair Vinay Patel, Treasurer Neil Patel, and Secretary Bharat Patel.
Thank you, Cecil. As Cecil mentioned, I'm Biren Patel, AAHOA Chairman. Thank you for joining us today for the North Central and Upper Midwest Regional, a virtual experience. Our team has worked hard to bring you this outstanding virtual conference and trade show. Based on the feedback that we had been given about the 2020 AAHOA Virtual Convention and Trade Show, we are proud to present you with a new and improved interface that enhances your experience. It enables you to connect with our vendor partners and each other clearly, directly, and easily. I was looking forward to meeting everyone in person as your chairman this year. However, the fact that we are meeting virtually is yet another reminder that we are far from business as usual. As an owner of both branded and independent properties, I understand and share your frustrations and concerns about our industry. The recovery forecasts from STR, CBRE, and others keep shifting further down the road as our nation struggles to fight this pandemic. Our recovery as an industry will begin when people start increasing their travel. Although the recovery timeline is uncertain, AAHOA is working hard to help you during these challenging times. Today, you're going to hear from our AAHOA officers about our efforts to help you navigate through the road to recovery and to come out on the other side of this crisis. We've refocused our advocacy and education efforts and priorities to address the multitude of new challenges facing owners, such as the liquidity crisis, accessing government relief programs such as PPP, seeking relief from brands and OTAs, which is a hot topic amongst our membership, and protecting guests and employees. I know there are many things that are impacting our businesses right now that have us concerned. However, I can tell all of you this: AAHOA is trying its best with the obstacles and parameters in front of us. Our education team has developed over 180 COVID-specific webcasts since March to help you address the pandemic's challenges head on. AAHOA keeps you up to speed on the latest industry and COVID news with our daily digest. We've also had over 70 virtual events, which address the local issues and bring you together with AAHOA and industry leaders to help you stay connected. Even though we're in a virtual space today, I hope today's regional conference allowed you to take advantage of the networking opportunities and special deals you can only get through AAHOA. We are excited to share with all of you AAHOA's efforts to support you and your businesses. Now, please join me in welcoming AAHOA Vice Chair Vinay Patel, who will give you an industry update in your areas and bring you up to speed on our advocacy efforts in Washington and in the state capitals across the country.
Thank you, Baron. Good evening, everybody. Obviously, we've had a tough year this year. It's almost November, and I'm looking forward to December, hopefully getting ready for January of next year. So we're going to look at some of the data within your region that we're talking about here. So if you look at the screen right now, if you look at the year-to-date data from January till September, Chicago has an occupancy of 36% with the ADR of 87. Des Moines has 44 occupancy with a rate of 79. Fort Wayne, Indiana, and Davenport, Indiana, approximately 45 to 47% occupancy with a rate of 70 to 77. And Detroit, Michigan, it seems a little better, 51% at a rate of 84. Minneapolis has taken a big hit if you look at it from year to date at 35% occupancy at a rate of $81. Same thing with St. Louis, and Columbus rounding out at 42% occupancy with a rate of $77. Now I'm going to show you the data for across the country here. This is the lodging data for all hotels across the USA. The common theme here is that, we don't recover in terms of occupancy until 2024. So you look at the occupancy year to date right now forecasted for the rest of this year for all of the USA is at 39.8% with a RevPAR of minus 52% compared to last year. So the key thing here, the takeaway would be that the entire US lodging market does not recover until 2024. Now let's get specific to the regions that we're talking about here. Let's look at Columbus. The mid-price hotels are in occupancy forecasted for 2020 is at 35% with a RevPAR decline of minus 57%. And again, the theme being that 2024 is when the occupancy returns to 2019 numbers for mid-price hotels in Columbus. Now you look at the lower price economy hotels. It seems like they're doing a lot better. When you look at 50% occupancy forecasted for 2020 with a RevPAR decline of only 30%. I know that sounds really bad to say only 30%, but when you compare to the other segments, that's reasonably not bad. And then this particular segment recovers a lot quicker in the sense of 1 year quicker, tends to come back in terms of occupancy by 2023 to 2019 numbers. Now we'll look at Detroit, the Detroit mid-price hotels. Does not recover in terms of occupancy until 2024, and the forecasted year to date for 2020, is at 36% with a minus 53% RevPAR decline. Similar theme here as well. It seems that the economy hotels are doing a lot better. Forecasted occupancy for 2020 is at 57.7, and again, recovering a lot quicker and recovering back to 2019 numbers in year number 2022. Now look at the Milwaukee lodging forecast. Mid-price hotels for this year, we're only looking at 33.4, and then recovering back to 2019 numbers not until 2023. Milwaukee lodging forecast for lower price hotels, obviously a little better than the mid-price hotels, forecasted for 2020 at 40%, and then recovering back to 2019 numbers until 2023. Minneapolis, which is one of the most worst hit cities in this geographic area, forecasted for this year, for 2020, is only 28.7% in terms of occupancy, with a RevPAR decline of almost 67% minus compared to last year. And it does not come back in terms of occupancy until 2023 in terms of recovery for the mid-price hotels. Again, the economy hotels are faring a lot better. Forecasted for 2020 is at 53.3, with recovery back to 2019 numbers in the year 2022. Now we'll look at the CBRE data in terms of hotel operating performance. The operating revenue by property type has declined. I know it's hard to see here, but for the limited service hotels, is that RevPAR decline is almost 50% compared to last year to this year, from August 2019 to August 2020. Operating profit is down by 75% by property type. Limited service down significantly a lot there as well. And then operating margins, we're down by almost 24% compared to last year. Again, limited service tends to be a little bit better, but still the margins are significantly down compared to 2019. So as you can see, the data does not bode well for the last, this year, obviously, and looking ahead, we've got some years to gain back to what we had in 2019 numbers. Now I'm going to talk to you about the advocacy that we're doing on the behalf of our membership here. Advocacy is probably one of the most important things. I know that we're all focused on our businesses, and I just talked to you about the data being so horrible. We're a survival game, but I think at the end of the day, this is one of those opportunities, the one moment that we have to look at our government to help us out to get out of this pandemic that we have here. In the past, we focused on a lot of things like workforce relations, tax reform, travel and tourism, and drive-by lawsuits. Again, those are still there, but it's not on the forefront these days. You may ask, what's keeping hoteliers up at night? I know for me personally, liquidity. The last, 8-9 months have been absolutely difficult. I'm concerned about the next 3 or 4 months. How am I going to get through March or April? Regulatory relief. We've got our PPP funds, we've got our EIDL loans, and whatever else we can get from our local jurisdictions, but what's going to happen looking ahead? And then liability reforms. We've got staff who are sick. Maybe a customer gets sick. Are we going to get sued by our customers in case if they contract COVID at our hotels? So, since March, AAHOA has been actively engaged on the advocacy side. CARES Act negotiations. So what we had gotten in terms of the PPP, we were actively engaged, helping the congressional leaders, giving our input as in what impacts us as hoteliers, whether it be an LLC owner, single sole proprietor owner, or a small business owner, depends on number of employees that we all have. We're acting on your behalf, making sure that our best interests are protected. And we push regulatory relief. We talk about the PPP, but a lot of other things that are out there that the government is doing that we can help input on makes a difference for us as hoteliers. We participated in many meetings. We met with the president, we met with the vice president, and key members of Congress. I think a lot of our ambassadors, a lot of our regional directors, a lot of our officers, and have met to a lot of senators, a lot of congressional leaders, telling them our plight and telling the things that we're facing as hoteliers. And we're also urging for introduction of new legislation. PPP is already passed. A lot of other things have passed. We're looking ahead and saying, hey, look, we still need additional relief because as I said, as the data showed, we've got a long ways to go before we get back to some normal numbers here. And we also introduced key resources to amend on the PPP. One of the key things is that, the affiliation rule. Many of our hotel owners own multiple hotels. So if it wasn't for us, you would have only been able to get a PPP only on one hotel compared to having it at all hotels. So that's one of those things that I think on our association, Chirag and the DC team has completely impacted on that thing for us. Next, I'm going to talk about the Political Action Committee. This is probably one of the most important times to be engaged. And people may ask, how do you choose a candidate to give money to? It's a very important process that we follow. The Government Affairs Committee ranks them based on a 13-point key scale. How impacting will be when we give this particular candidate money? How will he be able to make sure that, how long will he be in the Congressional House? What's the likelihood of him winning? A lot of different factors that make a big difference, and it's vetted out properly to make sure that the money goes to the right candidate and gives us the most value and the benefit to us, and in terms of benefit to our hoteliers. So, my ask to you guys is that look up your member of Congress on myahoa.com. So go to myahoa.com and look up your member of Congress and see who your senators are, who your congressional leaders are. Make sure that you're able to communicate with them, talk to them, email them, call them, whatever it takes to make sure that your voices are heard. And the way you can find that information out is going to myahoa.com. Contribute to the AAHOA PAC. I just talked to you about the Political Action Committee. It's a legitimate committee that we kind of focus on what impacts our hoteliers. We're asking for at least $365, which is $1 a day, which very simple for us. I know that it's tough times right now as hoteliers, but $365 can make a big difference on your behalf. Also, make sure that when you receive action alerts from AAHOA, that you engage. It's very simple. We're asking for something that's happening in Congress at the moment. And so we want you to just type in your name, address, email address, and your zip code, and that'll basically tell our congressional leaders whatever issues that we're facing at that given time. And then most importantly, update your property data. When you go to myahoa.com, that is one of the most important things right now for us. When I've gone to Congress people, to whether it be senators or whomever, they'll ask me, hey, look, how many hotels do you have in Ohio or Detroit or Michigan or whatever? When we have that concrete data, it makes a big difference, because a lot of these congressional leaders will make a decision based on how many votes they can get. So if you're a constituent and says, hey, look, we've got 500 hotels or 200 hotels within your geographic area, they're wanting more listen to you in that sense there. With that said, I'm going to close out, and I'm going to hand the floor to Neil, who's going to talk about education and communications. Neil?
Thank you, Vinay. And I would like to echo something that Vinay stated about reaching out to your elected officials. It's very important. Those relationships are very important. For example, our board member, Lena Patel from Ohio, she met with the chief fire marshal for Ohio, Alan Smith, or even the relationship our members have created with Neeraj Jantnani, newly elected Senate member for Ohio, or even our United States Congress, Raja Krishnamurthy, and the members from Illinois who created those relationships on our behalf. Those are very important relationships. If there's anything on the ballot that impacts us as hoteliers, now they're watching our back, and we have to ensure that we create more relationships and build on it. I'm Neil Patel. I'm your AAHOA treasurer, and I would like to go over AAHOA's education platform, also known as AAHOA's Hotel Owners Academy. Last year, we had 17,000 members who attended AAHOA's webinars or any education platform that we've done. This year, we have over 40,000 attendees. That's over 138% increase from last year. So when we talk about the AAHOA's education platform, we have a wide range from hotel ownership to ADA compliance, revenue management, much more. So here are some of the programs that we're offering to you as AAHOA members. The first one, we realized that guest confidence in our industry is down. So we partnered with P&G and we've created a sanitation program targeted specifically for our members, where we are certified and we know exactly how to clean and keep our hotels safe. That way we can get the guest confidence back in our industry. Second is our all-new Seashore program. Since we launched it in February, we already had 800 members to partake in it. And it's at a huge discounted rate. For lifetime members, it's only $200, and annual members, it's $249. This is the best price you'll find in the industry for a specialized program such as this. And third one is our Human Trafficking Awareness Training, or HTAT. This is the most important program that AAHOA offers. We know that things like this may happen at our hotels. So let's train our staff and our family and everyone in our community to spot those, to make sure that we can stop it if we ever see any signs of it, because it gives our industry a bad name. So let's take a stance against human trafficking, and let's help and be part of a good community. And the fourth one is CHIA, Certification in Hotel Industry Analytics. This program is valued at $500, but for AAHOA members, it's only $100. Year to date, AAHOA has already hosted 180 webinars. Throughout our platform, you'll find over 300 webinars. Out of those, 160 are just COVID related. And we have had more than 32,000 people that have taken advantage for this. And the three most popular webcasts that are recent: number one, using LinkedIn to grow your hotel's presence and stay profitable. Number two, ADA compliance in a social distancing era. Number three, hotel valuation outlook as of June 30th, 2020. Now, this is very important. Data is more important than oil. And we have to make sure that you go into your myahoa.com profile and update your data. As Vinay stated, it's very important. When we reach out to your elected officials, they want to know on what brands we own or what hotels we own, how many employees we have. That is very important. For my own personal example, when COVID hit, I was able to meet with our congressman from Texas, and I was able to share the data AAHOA provided for our industry, and I was able to push him to get more reliefs for our hoteliers. So I'm grateful for the data AAHOA provides. So here's how you stay informed. Every day in the evening, AAHOA will send you a daily digest. Within 3 minutes, you're caught up on all important news throughout the day. Second is make sure you customize your AAHOA emails. Go on myahoa.com and update your preference. If you're interested in deals and discount, click on that. If you're interested in advocacy, you click on that. Or even hotel news, you click on that. So now you're tailoring experience solely for your needs. And of course, if it's something very, very important for AAHOA, we will text you or we will call you. So make sure your phone numbers are updated on our website. For example, we launched a campaign to send 10,000 letters to our elected officials. We surpassed that, and we were able to hit 15,000. We even surpassed that. So I think collective strength, this shows to our elected officials. So here are some of the things that I want you to take back. First, sign up for a certificate you have not earned yet. Second, pick 3 webcasts to share with your staff. And third, make sure you go on myahoa.com and update your profile as needed. Now, your newly elected Secretary, Bharat Patel. Thank you.
Thank you, Neil. I think I speak on behalf of all our officers. I'm all zoomed out. I wish we could be there in person. I remember last year's event in Cincinnati with and the event in Detroit, those micro regionals that we have, mini regionals, and it was a great time. And hopefully in the next coming months, we'll be able to plan for the future and the next couple of regionals coming up. In terms of events, despite the fact that AAHOA has had very few in-person events in 2020, due to the pandemic, AAHOA has nonetheless engaged with more hotel owners in 2020 than any previous year. The numbers show that hotel owners are coming back to AAHOA for the information and the support they need. Even in a time where we've had to pivot, AAHOA continues to meet members where they are. We've hosted about 70 regional events, addressing local issues by region, by topic, with over 4,000 hotel owners. These geographic and topical forums give members the opportunity to meet directly with AAHOA industry leaders. So I hope many of you have had a chance to, whether it's the Hilton, we've had Wyndham, we've had almost all the brands had a call with them, a virtual event. I hope that you've had a chance to, and we'll have some upcoming in the next couple of weeks also. But if you didn't get an opportunity in this current regional event, you didn't get a chance to go through the trade show, please understand that there will be other regional events from other regions, but you'll still be able to take part of our virtual trade show. So that's something that's unique about our virtual events, is that you can still visit some of our trade show partners, and I think that's very important. Golf tournaments in the upcoming year, we've moved it from 2 tournaments to 6. So in 2021, we'll have over 6 tournaments planned. In terms of AAHOA 2020, AAHOA 2021. I'm missing AAHOA 2020, and we all did miss Orlando, but we're going to be moving on to Texas. Everything is bigger and better in Dallas, except for our quarterbacks. So I hope that you all get a chance to, as the events registrations come up, that all of you get a chance to register for the event as soon as it rolls out later on this winter. So please make a note in your calendar that if you can, attend the next virtual event. Check out AAHOA's deals and discounts. Those deals and discounts are offered by our vendor partners. Something unique to our convention, which I always love, and I always talk to everyone about that in the industry, we have the best trade show in the industry, and most likely the best trade show, I will say this, the best trade show for the whole year of 2021. Not only the number of vendor partners, but these are vendor partners, and many of them have been with AAHOA for years. These are the vendor partners that we like, that we know, that we trust. These are the vendor partners that support your association, whether it comes to advocacy, whether it comes to hosting events, and all the other things that our association does for you on the ground. Please make sure you give our vendor partner an opportunity to bid on your next project or to bid on your next remodel. You know, if you come to AAHOA.com, we have everything from A to Z in what you may need. Next slide, please. So my calls to action. As I've spoken about the virtual events, and also checking the deals, but the key thing is I know many of you get a lot of emails. In addition to looking out for those virtual events, please keep an eye out for deals and discounts that are offered by our vendor partners on a weekly basis. You'll get this, almost daily email, but they will have things to know about our daily discount deals. The third thing is I'll ask is, and this is very important, is go to myahoa.com. Make sure the phone number is correct. Make sure the information is correct. Make sure that you tick mark the emails and types of emails that you would like to receive from our association. Most importantly, I think would be the daily digest, but also deals and partner products pricing that is available from our vendor partners. I think that's important too. What I would leave you as is this before I introduce our chairman. All of you out there, it's been a tough winter, or it's a tough fall. It's going to be a rough winter. There are a lot of resources that we have online, but also please reach out to your regional directors or regional ambassadors. Tell us what's going on in the ground. There may be situations and scenarios that we're not made aware of, and there may be things that we can help you with at AAHOA, even if we can't help you immediately. Trust us when we tell you that our association is here to stand by you and to help and assist you in this time of your need. So please do reach out to your ambassadors, do reach out to regional directors, reach out to your officers. Our emails, our phone numbers are online. At least that's worth a visit to AAHOA.com. Check out what we offer. We are going to be doing some improvements and upgrades, but keep in touch with us. Let us know what's going on. And I really appreciate being elected the secretary of the association. Let me turn it over to my good friend, Biren Patel, our chairman.
Thank you, Bart. Franchise relations and OTAs are hot topics amongst our membership, and rightfully so, especially in the times that we are in. The amount of hard-earned resources we put into our hotels, whether they are ground-up projects or acquisitions, makes us even more protective of our investments. One of the largest expense items are the monies we pay to our franchisor each month, and those costs continue to go up every year. Knowing this, we continue to be the voice of America's hotel owners with the brands. So you may ask, what are we focusing on when we speak to the brands? We focus on increasing the owner value proposition and the ROI for owners. We're making sure brands think of owners as they think of their customers. If something makes sense for a guest, does it also make sense for the owner? We're focusing on making sure brands are communicating with owners before they implement new standards? And then when they implement them, are they telling us why they're making these changes and how this benefits owners? And lastly, contribution. How many reservations are the brand actually sending us? As you all are aware, we get fees for even reservations that aren't coming through brand.com. You know, we may not get everything that we ask for. And as all of you have seen during this pandemic, some brands are doing more than others. AAHOA continues to address the initiatives to brands during COVID. I want to go over a list of what we're addressing and we continue to address during this time. Pausing PIPs and cycle renovations plus fees. Pausing guest satisfaction surveys plus fees. Pausing loyalty program enrollment requirements plus fees. Limiting or halting all food and beverage service or relaxing for each owner to decide what is best at their hotel. Pausing QA inspections plus fees. Delaying training plus fees. Pausing brand standards, which are not safety related, plus postponing the implementation of all new standards that are set for 2020. Canceling mandatory conferences and meetings and refunding all fees paid in advance for these. Discounting and deferring royalty fees. Discounting or eliminating fixed fees which are not being earned during COVID. Ensuring a simple and inexpensive hotel closures process if a hotel needed to close. Limiting health and safety standards to what is necessary and makes sense at each hotel at little cost. Reevaluating breakfast options for the long term. Eliminating unnecessary room and lobby amenities and making other upon request only. And limiting housekeeping and exploring long-term options. You know, AAHOA continues to gather members' concerns and is trying to find ways of how to approach them and share them with our brand leaders. Having said that, we continue to advocate on the most important topics for our membership. And what we need from all of you, as some of my fellow officers mentioned, is hard data. I'll give you some examples. When we go to speak to one of our brand partners, some of the things they ask, one of the first things they ask is, how many people does it affect? And if we don't have that data, then our discussion doesn't give the validity it needs. So I'll give you an example of two different things. One that doesn't have much substance when we go to our brand partners, and another statement that does have more of a substance. So when we go to our brand partners and I say to our brand partner, some of our members are saying that this mandate is not needed or unfair. That is a broad statement. But if I go to a brand partner and say, this mandate is affecting 300 properties nationwide, which are owned by AAHOA members, that statement alone has more substance. That's why we need that data. You know, as officers of the association, we have members reaching out to us all the time of individual concerns. And we try to address them the best way we can. But we can't assume that that concern is something that all members want. And I'll give you an example. During COVID, we had a couple months ago, we had sent out a brand relief survey. We didn't get the amount of feedback that we needed. So it's hard to take that to our brand partners and say, hey, this is what our membership is saying. And we're also always evaluating what is in the best interest of franchisees. However, we also realize that it may differ from owner to owner. I'll give you another example. When COVID first started, we had a lot of members telling us about breakfast, to get rid of breakfast. And we spoke to our brand partners. And we came to the realization that just as many owners who want to get rid of breakfast, there are still owners or members of ours who want to keep breakfast. That gives them an advantage in their comp set or in their markets. So that's just an example where we have some members that want to get rid of breakfast, some members who want to stay with the grab and go, and some members that maybe want to continue with breakfast from what it was pre-COVID. Also, we realize that we need to improve our communication when we have to our members, when we have dialogues with our brands. So we are working on ways to get that info out to all of you when we do communicate with our brand partners. Another hot topic is OTAs. We get several inquiries from our members when it comes to OTAs. And as all of you know, if you own a brand, your brand negotiates a rate for all of you. But we still need input and data from all of you. So if we go to a brand, we can tell them that when their time comes up for renewal, that they need to renegotiate a lower amount of commission for X amount of franchisees, and out of those X amount of franchisees, this X amount are AAHOA members. Last year, we tried to advocate and get an AAHOA rate for independent hotels. And one of the first things they asked us was, how many of your members own independent hotels? And how many independent hotels are they? And we didn't have that data to provide them. We have some of it, but we need more. So that's why I urge all of you to fill out that stuff, fill out the data on your myahoa.com profile. And lastly, we must protect AAHOA when we see actions that may not be legal. At the end of the day, we're all competing with one another. And while I might be able to do something or want to do something myself, and you may be able to do it yourself, we might not be able to do it together because it can be considered as collusion. And there are laws that prohibit us from boycotting as a group. So what we need to do as a group is to work harder to come up with solutions and ways how to achieve our goals. To just to recap some of what my fellow officers said and what I've stated, there's 4 things that I ask from all of you. Number 1 is to make sure you update your email in your myahoa.com profile. A lot of members come up to us and tell us that we're not getting the communication from AAHOA, or what is AAHOA doing? If we don't have your current email, then you're not getting any of our communication. So we urge you to update that email so you get all of our educational efforts, what we're doing with brands, all of our advocacy efforts. Second is to make sure, as I mentioned, please update your property data. We don't go and give that information out to our elected officials that Buren owns this hotel in this city. We just need the broad data of how many hotels are owned by our membership and which brands they own. Third is, as I mentioned earlier, about the surveys. We need you to fill out those surveys so we get that feedback and respond to all of our call to actions. And lastly, if there's an FAC and OAC with the brands that you own, please be engaged in them. And if there's a seat that's open, please run for them so then we can work with you with the OACs and the FACs to have a more unified voice when we're talking to our brand partners or OTAs or our elected officials. Before we start our Q&A, I want to thank the 2 regional directors, Bhavesh Bhai and Kalpesh Bhai, and your Eastern Division female director, Lena, for everything that all of you do for our association and your regions. Your passion and commitment, I applaud you, and it's commendable. Also, to all the ambassadors, for everything that you do on the grassroots level. We urge you to continue what you're doing and promoting the AAHOA name and helping the membership out in your regions. I hope that you found today's regional valuable and informative. We're all in this together. Now I'd like to open up for Q&A if any of you have any questions.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. There are no questions tonight, but you do have an email from one of our members in the region that says, Happy Diwali to all of you. Keep doing the wonderful volunteer work and know it is very much appreciated. But other than that, we have no further questions tonight.
Thank you, Rachel, and thank you for those kind words. As we close, I'd also like to wish all of you a happy Diwali for you and your families. Thank you for joining us today. If you're an AAHOA member or an exhibitor, thank you for your commitment and membership to AAHOA. If you're not an AAHOA member or an exhibitor, I hope you found today's event valuable and hope you consider becoming a member and a vendor partner of ours. Have a good evening. Thank you.
Thank you.